Provoking Velgrynd was no different from sticking your hand in a hornet's nest. Testarossa and her team, although fully aware of this, still dauntlessly pressed on. "You think us stepping in would delay the ritual?" asked Ultima. "I suppose we'll have to see," replied Testarossa. "Not even I could maintain a gravity collapse of that level," said Carrera. "Doing that while taking on us three. No way that's possible, right?" "I think it is entirely possible. That's why I am wary of her." "Are you kidding?" "Oh, I'm quite serious." Whatever. We'll find out soon enough in battle." Testarossa and her fellow Primordials charged fearlessly toward Velgrynd. Far from being alarmed, the true dragon met their advance with a look of pure predatory delight. "Hello there. Lovely day for a fight, isn't it?" Testarossa greeted her. Velgrynd smiled back. "It certainly is. But first, let me go ahead and ask. Why don't you join our camp? As primals, you certainly possess the strength for it. I promise you'll all be treated well." Velgrynd maintained her casual composure in the face of the three demonesses as she made the offer. Needless to say, the answer was no. "I will have to decline your offer. I have my own history with the Empire, you see." "Same here," agreed Ultima. "I finally have a master to serve now, and it's loads more comfortable than I'd imagined. No way I'm gonna give it up." "Exactly. But more importantly, let's put an end to this talk and start fighting," said Carrera. "If 3 against 1 isn't your speed, you could always call on those folks behind you." The refusal was unanimous, no time spent deliberating. Carrera was clearly eager for a fight, not demonstrating the slightest interest in negotiations. Seeing Velgrynd's magic up close had ignited her own fighting instincts. Velgrynd laughed. "So that's your answer? Well, good. In that case, I'll gladly play with you for a little while." That was the signal for battle to begin. With a slow swaying motion, Velgrynd split in front of the demoness's eyes, or, to be more precise, there were now 2 Velgrynds, exact mirror images of each other. This was a familiar sight to Testarossa. A troubling sign. This is more than just a replication. Perhaps it's a bit closer to Rain's ubiquitous mist. Testarossa recalled her duel with Rain and the deceptive ubiquitous mist, a technique that swaps the user between a replica and their true self to ensnare foes. However, as she faced the reality of Velgrynd's far superior parallel existence, a rare shadow of doubt clouded the beautiful demon's face, sensing a power that surpassed even the primal's most lethal tricks. "What's that?" "Rain, you see, can split her body and regenerate herself from part of either one." "Got it. So both of them can function as the real her, then?" "That would be the case, yes." Testarossa and her friends analyzed the situation, not falling into panic at all. The battle was technically underway, but they were still debating like this was a parlor chit-chat over tea. "I see Blanc is quite the intelligent one," Velgrynd coyly remarked. "You are correct. This is parallel existence, one of my powers. And since I don't want you interfering with the ritual, I will be happy to deal with you here." She gracefully fluttered a feathered fan as she spoke. Testarossa was less than amused as she sneered at her. "I have a name. It is Testarossa, and it was granted to me by my lord Rimuru. I do wish you would stop calling me Blanc." She casually cracked the flaming whip that she had produced from her hand at some point. It undulated like a snake as it struck at Velgrynd. "Ah, right. So that slime truly did name you primals." This was Velgrynd's first confirmation of the fact, and it visibly surprised her. But her emotions remained undisturbed as she nimbly dodged Testarossa's whip. "Calling my lord a mere slime is extremely rude," Carrera indignantly explained as she unleashed her own magic gravity collapse, her closing move at the very start. She kept the size as small as possible, but that only further expanded its power. It was the greatest attack Carrera could summon right now, and it struck Velgrynd head-on while her attention was still on Testarossa. A pillar of black enveloped Velgrynd, connected from heaven to earth, a prison big enough for just one, offering no escape to his quarry. But with a wry grin, Velgrynd remained supremely unconcerned within her hyper-gravity cell. "You truly do reign supreme among demons. I couldn't ask for much more magic force. But if you insist on following the laws of this world, you will never outclass a true dragon." As if to prove her point, Velgrynd shattered the jet-black column from the inside. Then she raised her own magical force to jam Carrera's magic, rendering her powerless. "Ha ha ha. Servaldor's sister is something of a jocester herself, I see. If magic doesn't work, I suppose I can't do too much, huh? Well, there are the sword skills that Jared taught me, aren't there? Might not do much, but let's give it a try." Even though the greatest trick in her book was effortlessly broken through, Carrera still seemed to be enjoying herself. There was no sign of her losing heart as she held up her magic-generated blade. It had a fierce, violent presence, one slightly unbecoming of a demon, and Carrera's own demonic aura flowed into it, making it glow in her hand. That's probably the right answer. If it's a technique you yourself have crafted, not a simple magic spell or skill, then it may even strike a true dragon, the core of the world. Servaldor told me that a woman named Hinata proved it to him once. Testarossa didn't need to test it out. She presumed magic wouldn't work on Velgrynd. That was why she used a magically generated flame whip from the very beginning. It was white in color, imbued with a freezing flame of ivory and a cursed contradiction in attributes that Testarossa herself invented. Humans are real fascinating, huh? In that case, maybe I ought to break these out, too. Ultima materialized 2 knives, one in each hand. The blades were a loathsome dark purple, letting out an eerie, mystical aura. Wasting no time either, are you, Ult? You heard Zijin with those earlier, didn't you? Carrera asked. Pretty much. Honestly, I didn't see much point moving my own body to defeat him, but... Surprising, though, noted Testarossa. I didn't think our combat experience with Sir Zijin would come in handy like this. Facing Zijin's absolute defenses, the demonist trio realized their magic was futile. To bridge the gap, they manifested their spiritual essence into unique weapons fueled by sheer will. When Ultima's blade finally drew blood, the truth was clear. Through pure determination, their attacks had ascended to the level of ultimate skills, finally piercing the Insect King's impenetrable shell. I tried to imitate Ult's weapon, you know. My swordsmanship is really just for fun, but Ajera's taught me full mastery anyway. Let's go, shall we? Carrera sprinted forward, slashing at Velgrynd with all her might without even considering defense. Velgrynd parried the slashes with her feathered fan, a high-grade work of art that could hardly be called a weapon. With its durability irrevocably altered by her magical energy, however, it was now harder than diamond. Thin, light, flowing, and tough, it was Velgrynd's favorite weapon, easily comparable with Carrera's sword. What a surprise. I didn't expect the primal demons to so readily abandon magic like that. Is it that surprising? Our pride is a small price to pay for a victory we can offer to our lord. Velgrynd, already on the defensive against Carrera's onslaught, was struck by Testarossa's whip. Like a horde of white serpents, the whip constantly changed its shape and direction as it hunted down its prey. Tisk. Velgrynd clicked her tongue in frustration. The whip had torn the hem of her dress, offering a glimpse of her beautiful legs, and on one of them, a bright red welt, clear for all to see. It proved that Testarossa's attack worked. Not bad, Testa, said Carrera. I'll stay on the vanguard, so keep up the good work for me. You're celebrating a fluke of a hit that much. Even after this slight injury, Velgrynd still felt in control. That's why, facing up against Testarossa and her friends, she made a terrible mistake. She let her guard down. It's not a fluke. Ultima's triumphant cry rang out just as Velgrynd felt an intense pain in her side. What? A moment of confusion. Then, as if aiming for that moment, Testarossa's whip and Carrera's sword stuck over and over, taking turns. Velgrynd fell to her knees, not immediately aware of what happened to her. Not that she couldn't comprehend it, she just didn't want to. Spectacular work, Ultima. We'll need to have Sir Rimuru praise us for it later. Very impressive, yeah, agreed Carrera. But we can't let our guard down. Now it's time to wrap it up. Right. The other separate body is still around. Let's defeat that too, and then let's interrupt that ritual. Velgrynd, hearing these voices far in the distance, stood up. Oh. After all that, did it still not do much damage? Your poisoned curses take time for even us to reverse, Ult. The true dragons are extremely powerful. But she doesn't feel so unbeatable now, huh? The damage has to be building up. If we keep going. Before Ultima could finish, Velgrynd went on the move. With speed that not even the demoness's super senses could catch up with, she grabbed Ultima by the neck and slammed her to the ground. Gah. Ultima groaned as Velgrynd unleashed a stomping kick on her, then leaped away, just before Carrera's sword slash whizzed through her position. Velgrynd, safely out of Carrera's range, pulled out a knife stuck to her side and cast it aside. Her clothes were still torn, but there were no wounds left on her pale skin. Any damage caused by this barrage was no big deal to her. She really is a monster, Carrera muttered. Not exactly, Velgrynd lightly replied, a bit self-mocking in tone. In fact, I'm not nearly good enough yet. I haven't felt the sensation of being taken off guard for years and years. Then again, perhaps I've been doing that on a regular basis, but never realized it because I never paid a price. I suppose it's a problem only the best of the best must face, but I'm sure you understand what I mean, don't you? Velgrynd smiled, but her eyes cast a sharp gaze at them, making sure no twitch or slight movement went undetected. The demonesses couldn't hope for her to be so careless a second time, and with that, all hope for their victory seemed to be lost. I always thought primal demons were nasty things, but not in terms of being a threat. They're just a pain to deal with. But now I see things differently. With your new names and physical bodies, you have surpassed my wildest dreams in strength. That much I must acknowledge. Velgrynd, the Scorched Dragon, finally acknowledged the 3 primal demons as true threats. Their coordinated strike had just shattered one of her separate bodies, forcing her to realize she wasn't as invincible as she appeared. Through her parallel existence ability, Velgrynd could manifest multiple forms, but each required a steep 10% magicule collateral. While she could instantly conjure a fresh body to erase damage, she faced a hidden danger. If a body was destroyed while heavily wounded, a portion of those magicules was lost forever. The Primals had just drained 5% of her total energy, a staggering feat, considering even nuclear-level spells usually failed to move her needle. Velgrynd realized that while she could bluff, a steady war of attrition could actually defeat her. However, this revelation sparked a new ambition. If these demonesses were strong enough to threaten a true dragon, they were the perfect weapons to use against her sister, Velgrynd. Determined to turn these formidable enemies into ultimate assets, Velgrynd prepared to solicit them one more time. You understand now, don't you? No matter how much you struggle, you could never defeat me. Don't you think further battle is pointless? All you have to do is help me a little, and I will guarantee your freedom after that. So do you mind surrendering for now, please? This was the largest concession that Velgrynd's pride would allow her to offer. But it was met with instant rejection. You want us to betray Sir Rimuru? My, what a funny joke. You're definitely not taking us seriously. Demons never break their contracts, you know that, right? Just because it's not looking good for us doesn't mean we'll change sides at the drop of a hat. Absolutely. And sure, maybe you could try bargaining with some demons. If you look hard enough, I bet you could find some driven by their own self-interests enough to say yes. But you should realize that I would never betray my lord. Testarossa, Ultima, and Carrera each expressed their feelings in their own words and then in their own actions, as they unleashed an unhinged barrage upon Velgrynd. Each one was maximum force, instantly destroying her separate body. Once again, Velgrynd was drained of 9% of her magicules. The negotiations were off. Ah, what a shame. A real shame. Velgrynd, generating a new body, flashed a lurid smile as she spoke, and then the rampage began.